Yes, it's actually a good thing that the U.S. has banned advanced chips to China, at least according to a partner at a Chinese investment fund. Argument is, at the very least, well, if you ban them, we can't get them from you guys. We're gonna make our own. However, at the very least, we always assumed that was going to be the case, that, they'll start making their own. It's just, it takes a long time to make, semiconductors, or make the factories to create semiconductors, and the advanced chips are even more difficult. For one, it's complicated to just, the process is just a really long process, obviously, but also the intelligence required, right? Some of the most advanced engineers in the field are required for such a job, and if they currently all work in places like Taiwan or is there one in California? Again, that is hard to come across, but let's at least read what we're seeing here. A partner with a Chinese semiconductor investment fund has welcomed the U.S. government's ban of a certain advanced chip types to be exported to China, describing the move as great news, which may stimulate the domestic economy. Later on, it says here, like, the reason that we banned the chip was because we were concerned about, use in military technology, and it wasn't to destabilize their economy at all. That's apparently what our argument is. We're enemies with China, obviously. We know that. If anything bad to China is something that seems like the U.S. goal. So I'm not necessarily buying it as just for that reason, but, it makes sense for that reason, right? Let's see. Chloe Wang, a partner and vice president at the Guangzhou headquarters of the Yangshan Fund, which is the semiconductor investment fund, said, "We've received very great news this morning. I didn't feel surprised about the U.S. Ban of the H100 and 800 export chips." Wang told CNBC that East Tech West Conference in National Direct. Okay, yeah, she's just, it's just I'm talking about the Express. Look, yeah, again, this is more of here saying that we banned a lot of these chips because we want to prevent the use of advanced artificial intelligence in China for military applications. But also, this stops it for use of cars, smart cars, obviously. The advanced phone is another big one. Apparently, in recent months, attention has turned to a Chinese tech giant, Huawei. Its latest smartphone, the Mate 60 Pro, has a chip that appears to support 5G, despite U.S. sanctions, and have sought to cut the company off from the technology. So that's really interesting. We'll check out this article from August. Let's get the name for you guys. Huawei's new phone allegedly supports 5G and satellite calls. A lot of it's saying allegedly. A lot of it's saying that it's showing up in consumer press for the past couple of weeks for positive and negative context. The positive side, the Chinese company released a smartphone, the Mate 60 Pro, this week with little fanfare, but several news outlets, including The Verge, reported the phone may include a 5G chip. Now, obviously that's a big deal, because how did they get the technology to do that? Apparently there's big U.S. concern over the case. Nothing on their website is mentioning the ability to do either of these two things, use 5G or do these satellite calls. The reason of that, that people are at least suspicious of, is there might be secret factories, according to this website. There we go. Less flattering Huawei news, and perhaps the reason Huawei isn't specifying anything about the chips, is that Huawei may be building secret chip making factories across China using straw companies with different names to bypass U.S. sanctions. That's pretty big news. I think that's really big news. And they're like creating secret factories and hiding that information. Like, it would put a really big damper on the whole point of this this ban. I do think it's fascinating. What is the takeaway here? China's going to find some way to... China's going to China, right? And I think China's better at Chinaing than U.S. is at stopping them. I don't know what you do about China's... if they get access to the technology, well, you need to come up with a new plan. Perhaps, maybe what should have been the original plan in the first place. I do get... we're done with the tech and business news portion of this. As in theory, I do... You want China to have less access to things because of, if any two places are more aggressive with their imperialism than the United States right now, it's Russia and China. So when you do things to harm Russia and China's ability to take action, it's mostly good if the U.S. can spread its influence to other places in a hopefully non-imperialist way, create business deals, create reasonable connections, strengthen their economies, make people want to work with them, give them more, encourage democratic thinking. And that does seem to generally be what Biden's office is attempting to do. Trying to create closer connections with India, obviously, even though I'm not a big fan of everything I've heard about Modi, but I'm not a big fan of everything I've heard about most leaders, most world leaders, even our current ones. Ties with Malaysia we're working with. The U.S. has recently strengthened its commitments to the Philippines. Pretty much anyone that China's like with, we're like, yo, come U.S., big dog. Don't ignore the history of what we did to South American countries. We got you guys. Yeah, that being said, I'd like us to make to do more to benefit the other Americas, right? If we can find some ways to strengthen ties there. The more economic, political, and military ties that the U.S. has with other countries, the less strength and control China has. Should the major goal be try and shut down access to China? Not the major goal. Maybe if they're doing things, sanction people who do bad things. I think at least for, just for appearances, you have to. But make it so that they can't keep growing their economy by creating deals with other burgeoning, developing economies. We do the thing that we used to do, which is make sure we're still growing. We have enough resources. We have enough manpower, intelligence to spread more business access to other countries. Now, I know it's difficult because the one major way you involve yourself in other countries is starting businesses in those other countries, right? And you don't want to be sending jobs offshore. So it's difficult to do. I think I'll do a next video on ways to work with and develop and encourage growth of other economies in a way that strengthens the U.S.'s power in a useful way and not in a, how we did it in the Middle East way. But, and again, if you like what you saw, leave a like, do subscribe, do a crime, just kidding, don't do a crime, and I'm out.